your home for Ducks basketball.
I think we have talent. We have some good experience.
Duarte to the basket, the slam. Omarui for three, yes!
I think we have enough talent to have a very competitive team.
Oh, and a steal and slam for Williams.
I think we've got as much talent, if not more, than we've ever had in our game.
Pikesell fires, hits. Only right corner three, another bully ball. The Ducks have done the double championship for the second time in 3 years. The Ducks are Pac-12 champions.
It's time for Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College. Visit your locally family-owned and operated Carl's Jr. today. Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. From the Country Financial Studio, alongside Terry Jonz, here's Joey Mack.
It is a busy, busy week for Oregon basketball. It's rivalry week for the women, and the men are hitting the road again after what was a tough loss last night. There's no doubt about it. USC looked like the best team in the conference, and I can't wait until USC is maybe on Oregon's schedule in postseason, because I'd like to see that matchup again when the Ducks are maybe feeling a little bit better after what was a tough loss last night. So now you bounce back. The Ducks will be doing so with the arguably best shooting guard in the conference and in the country, as Chris Duarte today has been named to the Jerry West Shooting Guard of the Year Award finalist by the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame. He is the first Jerry West Award finalist in program history. That deserves a round of applause.
Absolutely.
For Chris Duarte.
Congratulations.
Chris Duarte has been outstanding this year, and it just so happens that he is our guest today on Tip-Off Tuesday coming up. We're going to talk with Chris Duarte and Kevin McKenna on the men's side, and then Kelly Graves and Angela Dugalic on the women's side.
Yeah, ought to be fun. Ducks, it's rivalry week with Oregon State coming up on Sunday. Big game because they're right behind the Ducks in the Pac-12 standings, and the Ducks can end up playing them in the Pac-12 tournament. Ducks have the first round bye. But 3 o'clock tip-off coming up Sunday at Matthew Knight Arena, 2:30 pregame with Bev Smith and me.
The men will be on the road at 6 o'clock coming up at Stanford, a 5:30 pregame show for me. And also we can tell you that the men have added a couple more home games. They're going to make up the matchup with Arizona and the matchup with UCLA. This will be the 4th attempt to play the Oregon-UCLA game that was originally scheduled for December 23rd. Those games are still working on game times and ESPN family of networks. We know that, but either way will happen for you on the Oregon Sports Network on the radio side. And then Oregon men's basketball's matchup with Oregon State has been moved to next Sunday. From Saturday, moved to Sunday with the Ducks playing the 2 games next week. We will still have a tip-off Tuesday for you next week. A lot to get to. And so without further ado, because we have so many interviews, we're going to talk with Kevin McKenna about Chris Duarte and the fact that he's one of the best in the country next. Oregon men's basketball assistant coach is with us after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
The Big Carl has 2 juicy charbroiled beef patties, melted cheese, and classic sauce. It's what you order from Carl's Jr. when you want a big meal, a big, beefy, melted, cheesy meal. And with 3 juicy charbroiled beef patties, the really Big Carl is back. It's what you order when you want a really big, meaty meal, a really big charbroiled beefy meal, a really big, beefy, melted, cheesy, juicy, tasty. You get the idea. The Big Carl and really Big Carl at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for a limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
A favorite prehistoric family is back and in search of a new home. Rent the Crudes, A New Age, now available at Redbox. After surviving the end of the only world they knew, the Crudes come upon a safe haven to settle, only to find out it's already occupied by the Bettermans. From their intricately made treehouse to their many impressive inventions, everything about the Bettermans seems better. And an epic clash between the 2 families is imminent. Watch the Crudes, A New Age, and make it a Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
When you went car shopping, you meant business. You aced vehicle history searches and test drives. You out-salesmaned the salesman. Now you've got your wheels. If you manage that, you can get your retirement plan on track. Visiting aceyourretirement.org can help. With 401k tips and smart saving strategies, you'll have the info you need to get more for your future. Go to aceyourretirement.org, because when it comes to speeding past financial challenges, you're an ace. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
GTG, BRB, OMW, be there in a few. You may think that these kinds of texts are fine because of their length, and you can easily send them at a stoplight. But no, answering one text can take your attention away from the road for 5 seconds. And traveling at 55 miles an hour, that's enough time to travel the length of a football field. Make good decisions, don't text and drive.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org, a message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
We're back on Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr., Joey Mack inside the Country Financial Studio. Assistant Coach Kevin McKenna joining us on the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. Coach, let's start first. You get back late last night, actually early this morning. So first of all, just thanks for taking the time to chat with us. And I know after a tough game, you never want to be the one that has to come on and talk with me. So just thanks for doing it.
No problem. No problem. We had a rough night, obviously, and it wasn't our best effort. It wasn't our best game that we played, but we've just got to figure some things out and move on and get better. And we've got a lot of games coming up and a lot of ground to make up now. And we just got to get our guys back to feeling confident and feeling good about how we're playing.
As a coaching staff, how do you approach a game like that? I mean, I always hear some coaches say flush it. Other coaches say, well, you got to learn from it. I mean, how do you approach a game like that where there weren't a whole lot of positives to take away?
Well, I think you got to look at everything. You got to kind of try to forget about it because it wasn't very pretty at all. But you also have to realize what you did to put yourself in that position. And we made some defensive mistakes. We got a little antsy on offense and weren't very patient in getting good shots. And you just, combine the two of them we didn't have energy because we weren't scoring and they were scoring easy and picked up some steam. And before you know it, we were down a bunch. And, to our guys' credit, they got back into it a little bit. But, we just dug too deep of a hole.
Yeah. With so many games in a short period of time, Coach, I mean, I said to Coach Altman when I talked to him the other day, like, it kind of feels like postseason basketball right now for you guys with so many games in a shortened period of time. Is that how it feels from a coaching perspective?
A little bit, but not, it's not really that much different. You're just basically adding a game a week, which, I think our guys would rather play games than practice anyways, to be honest. But it is when you add the travel in and I keep saying, and this is with all teams, not just with our team, you can't underestimate the stuff that's going on in our guys' heads mentally with everything that's happening. The social aspect of not interacting with their, fellow students and getting out on campus and playing in front of people, all the fun things they like to do. Sitting in your hotel room, eating your plastic bag food, by yourself. It's a totally different vibe. And I think it affects different guys in different ways. And who knows if that's affecting us. I'm not making excuses. I just think it's a factor. But we just have to, all the college teams, the teams that manage it the best are going to be the ones that finish out on top. But we got to do a better job of figuring out how to give our guys energy, and they got to figure out how to get themselves excited about playing every game.
Kevin McKenna joining us. I was curious. You piqued my interest with guys would rather play games. I think that makes sense to me. Is there a percentage of players in your career that you've coached that like practice more than games? I mean, do those guys exist?
I think there's guys that like that. I would say, put a basketball out there and guys like Peyton Pritchard, Dylan Brooks, Jordan Bell, those guys are just, they'll be the first guy in the gym. I mean, it is what it is. And we got to deal with the games as they come. When you're on the practice floor, you got to figure out a way to get yourself better and get yourself motivated. A lot of these guys have, professional aspirations and, the games in the NBA, I was there for 6 years. They come at you like crazy and, you don't practice as much. You walk through stuff a lot more. You do a lot more, conditioning to stay in shape and do a lot of recovery stuff. But the games come at you like crazy and fast, and obviously the competition level is pretty dang good. So you better be ready. So, this is kind of a proving ground a little bit for these guys to try to see if they can handle it.
Yeah, this is like the ultimate example of the NBA style of gauntlet where you play 6 games in 17 days or whatever it is. I got to go check my math and my calendar. You probably know better than I do, Coach. I mean, it comes at you quick. Is that the biggest transition for guys going from the college level to the professional level, is just the endurance throughout a season?
Well, it's not only that, but it's a different game. It really is. It's, you can be a really good defender and still get scored on a lot. The guys are so good. The players are so good. A lot of people say, oh, I don't watch the NBA because the defense is terrible. Well, there's a lot of things that guys can't do because these guys are so skilled offensively and the spacing that's involved. And, the game has changed so much from even when I played to, a lot more 3 balls, a lot more spacing of the floor. The rules are way different. You can't touch anybody now. Before you could blast a guy and not get a foul, and now it's like you put a hand on their hip and it's a foul. So the game is definitely different at that level. The players are obviously bigger, stronger, faster, and it is a different game than what we play. And it takes a while to adjust. That's what's impressive to me about what Peyton's done is he's adjusted really well to playing right away. It took Dylan Brooks a little while, and obviously Chris is doing great, and Jordan's had his moments. Tyler Dorsey's had his deal. I mean, they've all, adjusted after a while, but there is a period of adjustment for sure.
I've also seen some guys in the G League like Anthony Mathis lately just do some amazing things at the Pro-Dex level. Kevin McKenna joining us. Hey, I'm kind of curious now. I've heard stories, and the big famous one recently was from the Last Dance documentary where it was like Michael Jordan brings everybody together and, they play these intense pickup style games. I mean, is that like a basketball player's dream when it's like the no blood, no foul kind of pickup game and you're just out there having fun?
Well, I think for some guys it is. Some guys don't want to get hit like that. But yeah, I think as a competitor, you want to play against the best guys. And, if Michael Jordan's, getting a pickup game together and you're a competitor at all, you want to, see how you stack up. That was always a thing for me anyways. I just want to see if I could hang in there with them,
Right.
Playing against guys like that is a challenge. It challenges you in every way possible. And, it's cool to be a part of that for sure.
Now, zeroing in on you guys, this is the time of year where everyone's talked about it, that Oregon always seems to line up the Rubik's Cube. That's the phrase that I've used. What's been the key to that in years past, and what's the key this year to having everything fire on all cylinders for you guys?
Well, I think Coach Altman is a guy that keeps driving home certain points that are solid basketball fundamental things. Obviously, we didn't follow a lot of them last night, but he's a consistent effort daily guy. He kind of demands that from the players, and the players usually respond. And that's been our big thing over the years. Is and I've been with Coach for a long time. He's consistent with how he treats guys and how we go about our business every day. I think in the past we've also been able to add some things as we go along because we've had good experienced guys. We had that stretch there in January where we just couldn't, we didn't add anything. We didn't have that basically we missed about 3.5 weeks of practice, and obviously the games that we're having to make up now. So a lot of those things we're a little bit behind, I feel, in some areas. But again, Coach's consistency and his consistent word and what he says to the guys has been, I think, a big reason why we've been able to, finish strong at the end of years.
Chris Duarte has had a remarkable season. We've talked about, I think he's one of the top 3 players in the Pac-12. You look at all the numbers right now, and he continues to generate those numbers. What's been the key for Chris this year, Coach, and what's the next step in his development as well?
Well, Chris is a really good worker. He's obviously a good player. He's developed a really good, consistent shot. It's the time he's putting in. He does all the things right. He watched what Peyton did last year and kind of has tried to mimic that. He does his work on his own in the weight room with Evan, our strength coach. He does shooting before and after practice. He does his recovery. He's diligent about everything that he does, his nutrition, his sleep, all that stuff. He's doing a really good job with, and I think that's been one of the big reasons why he's had a good year this year.
Eric Williams, nice to have him back in the rotation. Coach Altman has talked with me about that too. And he had 9 rebounds in the game last night. The rebounding is maybe the biggest facet that he brings to the table for you guys, and it's valuable, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Eric's a tough kid, really super competitive, and he goes after the ball and gets rebounds. We need that from him, and he's had some knee issues that he's been battling basically all year, and the last couple games he's really made an effort to try to get out there and play and play through some injury, and hopefully he can stay healthy and keep giving us some good play on the boards.
Eugene Omoruyi, I've said it that if you don't double team him, he's going to score. Teams have obviously kind of figured that out. He's drawn a lot more double teams over the last few weeks. He's had another impressive season. Only 2 games this year that he hasn't scored in double figures. One of them last night. The other was a game where he didn't feel well at Utah. I mean, just next steps for Eugene Omoruyi as well.
Yeah, he's been a really a good player for us all year and giving us toughness and physicality inside. He had a tough night last night. They were surrounding him pretty good. And when teams do that, you just got to figure out a way to find the open man. Sometimes, it's our old mantra, sometimes you, sometimes me, always us. They were after him last night, and they weren't going to give him much inside. He had the best player in our league guarding him for a good portion of it. And guys, the guy is really long. He's really big. I'm talking about Evan Mobley, and he reminds me of the length that Bobo had. He's just big like that. His arms just go forever, and really skilled, talented player. He didn't have a huge game last night, but he definitely impacted it for sure.
Stanford, 6 o'clock on Thursday, 5:30 pregame show here on the Oregon Sports Network. What's the report on the Cardinal this year and round 2 in the matchup with Stanford?
Well, they've had their good moments. They've had their injuries, and they've got everybody back healthy now, and they're basically like us. They're fighting for their lives right now. For an NCAA tournament bid and finish higher in the league. So all those things are on the line. We got them the first time. We played pretty well against them the first time, especially defensively. We played really well against them. We're going to need that same kind of effort and probably a little bit more because it's a lot more on the line, and hopefully our guys will feel that last night wasn't us, and we can bounce back and have a much better performance on Thursday.
Kevin McKenna, I can always thank you for taking the time to join us. Always appreciate it here on Tip-Off Tuesday, and good luck. I'm looking forward to hopefully traveling with you guys again soon, but in the meantime, say hello to my home area down there in the Bay Area, all right?
All right, you got it, Joey. Thanks.
Kevin McKenna, kind enough to join us. Coming up next, we got a lot more Tip-Off Tuesday presented by Carl's Jr. It's a big week for Oregon basketball on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Ninkasi Brewing is proud to be an official partner of the Oregon Sports Network. Independently owned and brewed in Eugene since 2006, Ninkasi is thrilled to launch the GOAT Pack, the greatest of all time IPAs, their first all-can variety 12-pack featuring Total Domination Northwest IPA, Tricera Hops Double IPA, Prismatic Juicy IPA, and new and exclusive Juicy Domination Tropical IPA. Find it on shelves now. More information at ninkasibrewing.com.
A favorite prehistoric family is back and in search of a new home. Rent the Crudes, A New Age, now available at Redbox. After surviving the end of the only world they knew, the Crudes come upon a safe haven to settle, only to find out it's already occupied by the Bettermans. From their intricately made treehouse to their many impressive inventions, everything about the Bettermans seems better. And an epic clash between the two families is imminent. Watch the Crudes, A New Age, in naked or Redbox night. Visit redbox.com for all the ways to watch.
You're listening to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hey everyone, let's all stop what we're doing and take a moment. You see? Every moment can be kind of special. But they can be loud moments, goofy moments, dorky moments, it doesn't matter. Because every time dads like us take a moment like that to spend with our kids, well, it's pretty momentous. So let's take a moment to make a moment. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Hello, it's me, the designer jeans in the back of your closet. What happened to us? I used to summer in the Hamptons, and now I'm stuck behind a pair of sweats. Okay, maybe I never really fit you right, but I got a lot more Sunday fun days left in me. So take me to Goodwill, where I can really make a difference.
Your donations to Goodwill create jobs, training programs, and education assistance for people in your community. To find your nearest donation center, go to goodwill.org. Donate stuff. Create jobs. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. I'm Joey Mack, sitting down with Chris Duarte, joining us on the University of Oregon Alumni Association guest line. All right, Chris, we were just talking here during the break. It's been a wild season so far, Chris, and so I just got to say thanks for taking the time to chat with us. Just what's it been like being a student athlete in this environment, Chris? I mean, take fans inside your life a little bit.
Well, it's been a little bit crazy, but we still grateful to to be able to go out there and show my talent and play the game I love.
You were named a finalist for the Jerry West Shooting Guard of the Year award today, Chris. So that is a tremendous accomplishment. First of all, congratulations. What's that mean to you, to even be recognized as one of the best shooting guards in the country, all that hard work paying off?
It mean a lot, man. Like I say on the post that I just posted this morning on Instagram, only God knows the work I have put into that, and it's paying off, man. I'm blessed to be recognized as one of the top finalists, top shooting guy for the Jerry West Award.
Chris, if I told you 5 years ago, like if I told yourself 5 years ago that this is where you would be at this point in your basketball career, what would you have said?
I don't know. I don't know what would I say, man. Still can't believe it. I'm in the position that I am today. All I can say is thanks God.
You are still leading the conference in steals per game, Chris. How much pride do you take in your defense?
I take a lot of pride. I'm trying to affect the game in other ways. Not only scoring, but I'm trying to do other things.
Your journey to Oregon, take us back in time a little bit. Tell us the story of how you ended up becoming a Duck.
Well, I just felt like Oregon was the best decision for me, the best opportunity for me. I felt like, the system we play over here, Coach Alma, the coaching staff, they were perfect for me. So that's about all.
Chris, how often do you get a chance to stay in touch with your family? Originally from the Dominican Republic, how often do you get a chance to stay in touch with your family?
Well, I try to stay in touch with them every day, man. It's really hard to be away from home. And I talk to my mom, my son, my girl, my dad, my brother every day. I try and stay in touch every day.
I've talked with a few other student athletes about this in the past, Chris, and I feel like basketball has a common language. But, English is a second language for you, Chris. How much has your English grown over the last few years, and what's that even been like as a challenge of just getting acclimated to the English language and the American culture?
I mean, it's been hard, especially when, English is not your first language. But I feel like I keep learning more and more. It's a little bit hard for me because of my accent. My accent is a little bit strong, but it's been hard, man.
Well, I got to tell you, Chris, I mean, even talking to you now, and the last time I had you on for an interview was a year ago, I can tell that you've already gotten a lot better at it, and I can't even imagine being in your situation, Chris. I just want to say I think everybody should understand, like, that's a tough thing to do. How much did playing basketball, Chris, kind of help you with that? Like sports kind of have a common language, don't they?
Yeah, it helped me a lot because, I have to be talking with my teammates every day, with coaches. So it forced me, to learn English, That way I can communicate with them and I can express myself.
Have you had some teammates that have picked up a little bit of Spanish from you?
Well, I got Coach McKenna. Coach McKenna, he's always trying to, talk to me in Spanish. Evan, coaches, all of them, they be trying to, play around with me. I got LJ now, feel a little bit more comfortable, being around LJ because he knows the language.
Before I talk to you about LJ, which I was going to do, how's Coach McKenna's accent, Chris?
Well, he thinks that he knows Spanish. His daughter does. His daughter is good. is good on that. But he thinks he knows.
It's all relative, Chris. It's all a matter of perspective. I love that. Chris Duarte. So LJ Figueroa, we talked with LJ earlier this year on the show, Chris, and so it's got to be cool to have another person from the Dominican Republic on the team with you, isn't it?
Yeah, it's very cool. I feel more comfortable that way. Because I miss talking in my language. And that way, when I want to say something, I say it to her. I get it out of my chest.
You guys both have a common background in baseball. We talked to LJ about this. So, Chris, I understand that you guys have had a little competition. You think that you could strike LJ out if you pitch to him?
For sure. They don't believe me, man. I used to be a good pitcher, man, but we're gonna prove it. We're gonna go to the baseball field one day, me and the coaches.
Chris, I am all in. Okay, when this happens, Chris, all right, you have to tell us because we're gonna film it.
LJ say he was good at baseball too, so we'll see. I believe it.
I am all in. We will film it. I feel like this is something that we have to do. So it's going to be the Chris Duarte versus LJ Figueroa matchup on a baseball diamond. Okay, so LJ, we know that LJ says that he doesn't think that you could strike him out. Who wins a one-on-one basketball game, you or LJ?
I don't know. LJ's a good basketball player, but I don't know about that.
Keys down the stretch for you, Chris. I mean, this has been a wild season, as we've talked about. You guys are going to play a bunch of games now over the next few days. Keys to success for you guys down the stretch, rest of the season.
Man, we just gotta play hard. Come with the juice, like the coach said. Come with that energy. We've been through so many up and downs. We just gotta pick it up and bounce back.
Chris Duarte, man, I got to tell you, I could talk to you for hours. So I really appreciate you taking the time. And you're a student athlete. I know you got homework to do. You got practice to get ready for, and then you guys are hitting the road to the Bay Area. Chris, I can't thank you enough for being a Duck. It's so much fun to watch you play. I always say, as the broadcaster, Chris, you make my job a lot of fun when you get all those steals and dunks, all right?
Thank you, yeah.
Chris Duarte, kind enough to join us, a finalist for the Jerry West Shooting Guard of the Year announced today. We got a lot more Tip-Off Tuesday coming up. Kelly Graves going to join us after this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Hi, welcome to the Spicy Drive-In. May I take your order?
Can I get the spicy chicken sandwich, please?
The spicy chicken is an excellent choice, sir. And to drink?
Whatever's fine.
Oh, may I make a beverage pairing recommendation this evening?
Sure.
If we are feeling especially bold tonight, sir, I would recommend the Mountain Dew with that. It's bravely unrestrained with a very alive aroma that pairs wonderfully with your spicy chicken. It's followed by a hint of zesty citrus flavor.
Yeah, that sounds amazing.
I'm sure you already know this, sir, but remember to appreciate the nose first by giving the Mountain Dew a little swirl to relieve volatilize it.
What?
To change the flavor compounds and activate your taste buds to get them fully primed for that chicken sandwich.
It's delicious.
Now you're getting the hang of it. The muscular flavor-charged characteristics of Mountain Dew make for an absolutely epic mouthfeel when paired with spicy cuisine. It is quite on point, sir.
Dude, it's a perfect match. Like they were made for each other.
So true, so true.
When you want to make good food bolder and bold food better, do the Dew.
This is Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Okay, forest animals, kids are coming to the forest, and it's up to us to make their visit a good one. Sparrow, have you practiced the most popular bird songs for the year?
Of course.
Catchy. I like it. River, how's the temperature?
It's a refreshing 52 degrees, man.
I love it. Turtle.
He's not here yet, man.
He's late every morning. Okay. Squirrel.
The forest has been preparing just for you. To learn more about cool things to do in the forest, visit discovertheforest.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service and the Ad Council.
Long ago, you wouldn't think of galloping on a horse while doing calligraphy, and you wouldn't have attempted to ride your bike while typing a letter. Yet you think you can safely operate a multi-ton vehicle while texting? Behind the wheel is no place to multitask. If you want to BRB, drive now and text later. Lives depend on it.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, Noise, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Tip Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. As we continue with what? You're looking at me.
Well, it's because I messed up. I said that we were going to have Kelly Graves next.
Oh,
it's going to
it's
be
your
Kelly
fault.
Graves next after this.
So it's your fault.
Yeah,
okay.
now it's all,
right.
it's all Terry now.
He apologized, so it's all good. Angela Dugalic, one of the Fab Five freshmen. Always nice to get to know these young women, and you find out why the Ducks recruited them. So let's get to know Angela Dugalic.
All right, first of all, Angela Dugalic, how am I saying it? Am I saying it pretty close?
Pretty close, yes.
You say it.
Angela Dugalic.
Yeah, that sounds so much better than what I say. But that's all right. You're from Des Plaines, Illinois, which is what, a suburb of Chicago? Were you born and raised there?
Yeah, I was born and raised there. It's right on the outskirts of Chicago. Yeah, born and raised there.
No, that's over by O'Hare International, isn't it?
Yes, like
near there.
10 minutes away.
So what was it like growing up there?
Well, it was very normal. I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, I never, like, the only thing I really did was go outside with my brother, or like my friends, play sports. I was very active, like even as a kid. But yeah, most of the time I always try to do something. I just hate being bored.
You played a lot of sports. In fact, your parents played a lot of sports, very active. Talk about your parents and your brother, your family.
So my mom played professional handball in Serbia and around Europe. And then my dad, he practiced judo and all of martial arts really, but judo was his main focus. And now he plays co-rec soccer, like for the older leagues. Yeah, and then my brother currently plays at Illinois Institute of Technology. It's a really smart school. Like, I mean, my brother, he's got the brains of the family.
Now your brother, Milos, is that how you say it?
Milos.
Milos. Okay,
Mhm.
How do you say your
That's
mom and
HFN.
dad's name? Yeah, how do you say your mom and dad's names?
My mom's name is Vesna, and my dad's nickname is Doogie.
Doogie, because it's I don't want to try and say it. What's his?
Dragovan.
Dragovan. Okay, I was going to
Yeah,
be
hey,
close,
that was
actually.
pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. Now, so your dad, judo, you don't want to mess with him. But your brother, now 6'8", you're 6'4". Are your parents tall?
Yeah, I mean, my mom's 6 foot. She's the shortest of the family. I think like our family joke is that she's so short, when in reality she's like a pretty tall woman. And then my dad's same 6'4".
That's great. That's funny. Now, did you played other sports? List
Yeah.
them off. What else you played besides basketball?
So most of my life, I played soccer. That was my main sport. I was just obsessed with it. I played volleyball in middle school and high school. I ran track. I swam a little bit. I did cross country in middle school. I think that's about it. Yeah. I mean, like, and with track, I threw and I ran and I did jumping and just all sorts of stuff. And
You're
then
right.
there's basketball, of course.
Yeah, well, you're right. You're never bored. I could tell. When did basketball take hold? I guess, when did you start basketball? Who gave you your start, and how did that happen? And then when did you decide, boy, I think basketball's the path I want to take?
Well, I started at a young age because my brother and we were always so competitive, and just, when we were younger, basketball, soccer, whatever it was, we would always want to beat each other. And then I sort of like took a break from basketball because I always felt like my parents were comparing me to my brother, and I just didn't like it. So I was like, I'm just going to stick to soccer. So I did soccer, and swam, and volleyball. And one of my friends actually was going to join, like, we had like a little feeder team. And she's like, hey, I'm going to join. Like, you want to join with me? I was like, yeah, sure. So I go back in. And then it just That was in, I would say, 5th grade. So I took a break for like a year, I would say. But yeah, so since 5th grade, I've played basketball. But it was always my second sport until 7th grade, because soccer was my first. That is my first love. And then after 7th grade, I realized like you don't see a 6'4" girl on the soccer field. So I told my parents, I was like, listen, like I don't think soccer is going to be the right one for me. I think I should just focus on basketball and volleyball at the time. And then it was basketball in the end.
Mentors back in Chicago. I mean, coaches, they coached you and really helped you along here, and especially getting into being recruited, being a high-level basketball player. Who was that?
Well, it was definitely both my high school and my AAU coach. My high school coach, Kim DeMarney, I mean, she's like a second mom to me. I spent most of my time at school. So it'd be school day from 8 a.m. to 3:20, and then 3:20 to 7 o'clock, we'd have practice and film. And so I was like, whenever I had a break in school, like lunch, I would literally go just in a room and chill with her and, would talk about recruiting, about life, all this stuff. So she was definitely a main part. And then Gerald Davis, he's my AAU coach. He did a lot of the recruiting, just like because like during AAU, you obviously get a lot more exposure. And so he has a lot of connections throughout the states and stuff. So he got, I would say, geez, I don't know how many schools recruited me, but he got like at least 90% of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, also with him, like he's just another father figure in my life.
Okay, picking Oregon, since you're talking about recruiting, you had choices. I know what Sydney knew of Maddie and Kylie, but I think you and Tahina came on your recruiting trip here together, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
But picking Oregon, obviously, as you said, you had a lot of choices. But
yeah,
what made you pick Oregon? What was it about the Ducks?
Well, my final schools were very different. One of them was Marquette, which is a smaller school, mainly basketball. That was their focus, and a mid-major, and it was very close to home as well. And then there was UCLA, so cross country, warm weather, all this nice stuff. But they came really late when they started recruiting me, like to the point where I was close to making my decision. And then with Oregon, they recruited me since sophomore year. And so, I mean, they've always just been very, very consistent. And every time I talk to Xavier, when I talk to Mark, Jody, KG, I remember the first time I talked to them and the first time they offered me, I could not stop jumping up and down. Like I had to put my phone on mute and I was literally like, oh my God, like this is happening. And then, yeah, I mean, when I told my parents, I was like, I sort of know that I was going to go there, like, but I was like, I just first have to see it first and then, I'll make my decision. So we fly out, get to the airport. KG picks us up. And he just, he's such a nice person, like off the court and on the court as well. And you just get that warm family feeling right away. And so when we were taking our pictures for like media and stuff in my jersey and stuff, I decided I was going to commit there. And so I asked the photographer, I was like, hey, like, because he would always go like 1, 2, 3, and then take the picture. And I was like, hey, like, can you let me count off? And so I have a video of it, but he's like, okay, you count off. And everyone, like all the coaches are behind me and stuff, and we're taking pictures. And I was like, 1, 2, 3, I'm committing. And they there's pictures of them screaming and they're like all so excited and such a good memory. But yeah, that's my commitment story.
That's
sort
awesome.
of went off track.
No, that's awesome. I didn't know all that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Learning to, did you have to learn to say Oregon? I saw a guy interviewed you back in Chicago, and it was Oregon. Did you have to learn?
Did I say Oregon?
No, you didn't. No.
Oh.
No, not you. It was the guy interviewing you. He said,
Okay, yeah. Several people have come up to me and be like, "How do you say it?" I was like, Oregon. I don't know. It's always been natural for me.
that's
But
great.
yeah.
Okay, Serbian national team, senior national team. You got to help them get qualify for the Olympics. The Tokyo Olympics would have been last summer. Hopefully this summer we will see. Where is that for when once the season's over here? I assume you got to start considering what's happening over there.
Well, so I have to be there, I think April 15th. Well, after the season obviously ends, and then I fly to Serbia. It'll be couple, like 2 months of training, because we're also going to have the European Championship. So if I do well in those 2 months of training, then I get to go to the European Championship. And if I do well there, then the Olympics. But I mean, I first have to focus on just playing well and, making not only myself better, but my team better.
What was it like getting to visit your parents' homeland? But you and your brother were born in the United States, if I'm not mistaken. But
yeah,
going back and visiting your parents' homeland, I think you did when you were a little girl, but as an adult, young adult here, that you got to go back. That must have been emotional.
Yes, it was. When you're little, everything just seems normal and the same. You're seeing family, and that's it. But I think when you're older, you realize that there's a lot of differences. So when I got there, I was obviously so excited, but I look around and I was like, this place is so different from the States. And, it was just surreal being there. Like, I wish I was there with my family, like my parents and my brother, and but they had work and they couldn't come. They can't just go there for 2 to 3 months. But yeah, it was just a really surreal experience.
Couple of things I want to touch on here before I let you go. I know you're a student athlete here. You get probably the student part here to do, and the athlete coming up, right? Aspiring artist, and maybe that's what you're doing academically. I read about that, and I thought, wow, that you did T-shirts, you've done some artwork. I know Aaron Boley's a digital artist major. I don't know if that's the area that you're looking at, but tell us about that. Where'd that interest come from, and what are you doing with it?
Well, I've always just drawing and stuff. In high school, I took art classes. I've always had an artistic side of me, whether it was culinary, art, I don't know. You need something different than sports. But yeah, I mean, my dad, he's phenomenal artist. I look at what he's drawn before, and I'm like, okay, I compare ours together, and I was like, mine looks like a 2-year-old drew it, and his looks like it could be like Picasso and all this stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It's soothing and calming, something different.
And one more thing, I think this goes to, just to tell people what kind of a person that you are, is that I see that you volunteered with kids, especially with kids that are less fortunate. That you've done back in Chicago. Talk about that.
Yeah, so every year we would have, for my basketball team, we would always go, either there's this organization called Feed My Starving Children, so it'd be you'd make food for children, and then we'd last year, the 2 years past, we did Operation Christmas, so you'd get a shoebox and you'd fill it with toys, and it'd be for a certain age group and stuff. So there's that. There's just different. I've always done it since I was younger, because my parents taught me giving back to the community is very, very crucial, because some people are obviously less fortunate and don't have opportunities like you do. So just, I wish I always wish I could do more. I wish I could, have someone with me or something, but yeah.
Well, that's a nice trait to have, Angela. That, like I say, it does speak to the kind of person that you are. And that's the kind of people that coach recruits, no doubt about it, that this staff, and I know you've got some teammates that are similar like that, that you can fit in, and it is a family here. And we're glad you're part of the family. So glad you came to be a Duck. You're a terrific player, terrific person, obviously, too. And look forward to, hopefully behind me, the cutting down the nets, that you guys are going to have your chance to do that once or twice here too, or maybe 3 times. Who knows?
Who knows? I hope so, though.
All right, there you go, Angela Dugalic. Great to get to know her. We got to keep rolling here. We got KG, Kelly Graves, coming up next here on Tip-Off Tuesday. After this on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
What's it like to grow with the O? At OCCU, we support Duck fans each step of the way by educating our youth with Lucky Duck Savings, celebrating independence with Duck Debit Checking, and rewarding members with the Duck Credit Card. That's how Duck fans grow with OCCU. Learn how you can too at myoccu.org/ducks.
The Big Carl has 2 juicy charbroiled beef patties, melted cheese, and classic sauce. It's what you order from Carl's Jr. when you want a big meal, a big, beefy, melted, cheesy meal. And with 3 juicy charbroiled beef patties, the really Big Carl is back. It's what you order when you want a really big, meaty meal, a really big charbroiled beefy meal, a really big, beefy, melted, cheesy, juicy, tasty. You get the idea. The Big Carl and really Big Carl at Carl's Jr. Feed your happy. Available for a limited time at participating Carl's Jr. restaurants. Price and participation may vary.
You're listening to Tip-Off Tuesday, presented by Carl's Jr. on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield IMG College.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Man, do I love card night. You ready, boys? You got a king?
Go, Fish Dad!
Oh, come on. This is WWE superstar Titus O'Neil. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today. Learn more at 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov.
Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Welcome back, Tip-Off Tuesday, women's basketball. We continue with the big guy, head coach Kelly Graves. Chat with Kelly Graves brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places.
Coach, a split on the trip to Los Angeles and a bounce back on Sunday, and you really needed it. And I know you're happy with the way your team reacted after not a good result at Pauley on Friday, and it worked. Team looked great.
We did. I thought that was showed some real character, our team to bounce back the way we did. I think the game on Friday at UCLA was one of the worst performances that we've had here in a long, long time, and did not leave a good taste in our team's mouth. Saturday at practice, instead of doing our normal prep work, we did prep for USC. However, we spent most of the time we divided up teams and old school scrimmaged, and the intensity was as good as we've had all year long in that scrimmage. It kind of reminded me of when I hear the story of USA, the Dream Team way back when they had that infamous scrimmage against each other. And, we kind of had our own version of that, and then came out on Sunday and really played well. I thought at both ends of the floor, we were efficient. We were, focused defensively, and had a great result. So kind of a mixed bag of a weekend.
We talked earlier about leaders emerging, and I think you used the word that it needs to happen organically. And, you can't just assign somebody as a leader if nobody's following them, then they're not a leader. But you have some leaders emerging now here late in the season, don't you?
Yeah, leadership is always shared. as well. It's never just one or two people. Every situation is different. And I think have had some, step up and emerge, like you said. And we've needed it. We've needed it all year. And it's just, and it's hard to get. We're just such a new team, and we're in different places, and it's just been an odd year, and it has not been natural. But like I said, I like where we're at right now. That Friday game aside, we played relatively well against Stanford and had a chance to win that game. Our practices have been more competitive. We just we're getting healthier. So there's a lot of things positive that are emerging, including the leadership.
And it's not a surprise with the youth, the inexperience, to be kind of up and down. I mean, I've heard coaches talk about riding the buck and bronco when you got a whole bunch of a roster that's like that, and like you have. And that's kind of the way it is. You got to stay with them, and as they're up and they're down.
You do. The thing that has changed is expectations. External expectations around the program. Nobody was saying this 4 years ago when we played up and down basketball, and we had veterans like Bando and Maite Cazorla, Jacinta Vandenberg with all these young freshmen, but we didn't have the expectations. No one knew what we had. Well, we're a lot younger this year than we were then. I think we're better overall, but here we are ranked 14th. We've lost more games than normal, but 14th's been our lowest ranking, and people think that the sky is falling around here. It's crazy, some of the emails they get and texts and things like that. Listen, we're still a work in progress, and will be all the way through the end.
There you go, Coach Graves. And they're right where they need to be, where they should be.
They've won all the games they're supposed to win based on the rankings.
And really, the 6 losses, they're all top 10 teams. 3, okay, they didn't have a chance to win. 3, they had a chance to win. Had a chance to beat Stanford twice. Should have beaten UCLA when they had them up here. And then it looks a little bit different then, doesn't it? And then there's 5 postponements of teams that they likely would have beaten.
That's the thing.
Yeah, and they didn't get a lot of things.
It's all relative.
It is. It's a tough year to have a young team in the pandemic.
It is all relative. Well, he's Terry Jonz. That was a busy show
You're
today.
Joey Mack.
Yeah, that was a busy show today.
That's
Chris Duarte,
Scotty
Angela
Phillips over there.
Dugalic, Kevin McKenna, Kelly Graves. Thanks for taking the time. The men, 6 o'clock on Thursday, 5:30 pregame show.
Women Sunday, 3 o'clock. It's the Beavers in town.
It's a big week.
Beat the Beavs.
Postseason coming up down the home stretch.
Dear Wallet, you can't stop in a 2021 Toyota no matter the weather. The Camry all-wheel drive comes out to play. Snowy hills don't stand a chance against the RAV4, and everyone will be comfy in the Highlander. See you in the snow. Toyota. Find yours at toyota.com. Toyota. Let's go places.
A favorite prehistoric family is back and in search of a new home. Rent the Crudes, A New Age, now available at Redbox. After surviving the end of the only world they knew, the Crudes come upon a safe haven to settle, only to find out it's already occupied by the Bettermans.